Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is rollercoaster. Today, I've come with a very exciting topic in this episode. It's about life as a whole. Life is a very mysterious place. Life is full of ups and downs. Life is full of a lot of excitement, a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, a lot of sweet things, a lot of good things, a lot of attractive things in life. But at the same time, life is full of mistakes and error and regrets and pains and there's deep sorrow, you know. So that's the part we don't like. That's why we pray. That's why we look unto God. That's why we draw near to God and all of that, you know. But in life, we are human. We are human. We are human. That's it. So as long as we are human, we will always go through the ups and downs. It's just like you are dealing with stock markets or like in forex. Even if a currency or a stock is going to rise, it's not going to rise straight up. It's going to go up and down, up and down. You see, it says something like up, higher, high, or higher, low, and all of that. So it will go up, it will come down a bit, but it's not totally down. It will go up again. That's like let's say something like 5 steps forward, 2 steps backward, 5 steps forward, 2 steps backward, five steps forward, 2 steps backward. That's how life is for a person who is going straight, going up in life. So if you do 5 steps forward, 2 steps backward, so you are you have gained 3 points or 3 steps. Then you do another 5 steps forward, you do 2 steps backward, you gain another 3 plus the other 3 making 6. You do another 5, so that is upward trend. But if you are doing 5 forward, if you do 2 forward, 5 backward, then you have lost something. So basically, I want to talk about life. Life is such a deep place full of mysteries. There's a popular story when we were growing up. They used to tell us about two siblings, and the siblings, one was two siblings. One was their parents were terrible. Father was a gambler. He goes to work, he works all his salary, he spends gambling and drinking. He drinks himself to stupor every day. He goes to where he drinks, his drinking parlor or beer parlor. He takes credits long before the end of the month. So by the end of month, half of his salary goes to debt payments to the liquor or the alcohol seller. Then the rest used to gamble and but the mother too was in like manner, was a gambler, and she was never at home. So absentee parents, and they living rubbish life, anyhow life. So they had 2 kids, 2 boys. So one said to himself that he would never be a liability, he would never end up like his father, he would never end up like his mother, he would never let his family be like this. So he vowed to himself, he said to himself, never. He's going to rise. He's going to rise, he's going to do his best to be the best and to give to build a good family. But the other one gave excuse. He gave excuse, live anyhow life, was living anyhow, wasn't going to school, wasn't paying attention to his personal life and all of that. So at the end of the day, somebody went to interview the 2 of them. One ended up to be a judge, the other ended up to be ended up in the prison committing atrocity and was sentenced to jail. The one that went to jail, they went to interview him. What happened to you? He gave excuse, bad parents. The one that became a lawyer and was called to bench, from bar to bench, became a judge. They interviewed him. What happened to you? He said because of bad parents, he vowed. So the same experience, 2 opposing reaction. And life can be deeper than that. You can talk about bad parents. Yeah, well, you say, oh, he's talking about bad parents. What about bad husband, bad couple, bad wife, terrible parents-in-law? All of that can be very painful. You can talk so much about bad, terrible boss. You can talk so much about death of somebody, incurable disease, cancer, asthma, and all of that you can name. You can talk about that and say, oh, terrible. There can be nothing more terrible than death of loved one, either husband, wife, or spouse generally, or about your siblings, one of the, it can be so painful, it can be so dreadful, so annoying, so deep, and you can, due to that, withdraw from life, due to that, withdraw from what you're supposed to be, you know but what I've come to tell you is that no matter the pain you've gone through, we've seen people who had the worst of experience wrote one of the greatest hymn, or set of the greatest hymn that Christians sing today. I do not remember the exact name now, but there was a lady, I think Helen Keller or something, who was born blind, but wrote a good number of hymns that Christians sings today. Do you understand? So our condition notwithstanding, do you understand? I know very clearly or very closely a family when I was growing up then. This family, when they lost their mother, when the children lost their mother and the father lost the wife, or the husband lost the wife, oh, it was a terrible thing. Everybody in the neighborhood grieved for them. The family themselves, they grieved. But one thing I know is that it drew them near to God. Every day, every morning, you hear them singing, and they were mostly ladies, mostly girls. They will sing deep worship song. You hear them later praying every morning and every evening. That directly or indirectly drew them to God. Do you understand? I have personal experience that too. My family, we had similar experience when we lost our dad. It drew us to God. So I've seen people with death or loss of somebody who has drawn them to God. Something that you have terrible in your life. You say you have your husband. I've seen people who had bad boss, terrible boss. And the terrible boss I taught them prior to marriage how to deal with terrible in-law. Do you understand? So if you could cope with terrible in-law, you'll be able to cope with a terrible boss. You'll be able to cope with a terrible in-law. So you should be able to draw something good out of the ill, the negativity of life. That's what I've come to tell you about. Yes, the sweet experience, the good experience will always come. But when the bad one happens, when the negative one happens, don't give up. Never give up. There's this regular saying that between the time that someone gave you a slap and the time you respond, there is this few seconds of you deciding what you want to react with, or how you want to respond. You can respond back with a slap, and it turns out to be a fight, and you can decide not to slap back and take some other route. If you ask some of the greatest people in the 20th century, in the 20th century, some of the greatest people then will tell you that violence is not the way. Let me mention two names. You may like them, you may not like them, but Mahatma Gandhi is one of the greatest names in the 20th century, who moved one of the largest movements in his time in India. Mahatma Gandhi. Another is of India. The second is Mandela, Nelson Mandela. He had one of the largest following in South Africa in his time. Even the world and the entire Africa fought for him. He's fighting apartheid. They never went through violence. So when we were faced with the opposition of colonialism and all of that, they reacted the other way, and they had headway, and they were able to liberate their people. Your own may not be to liberate people, it may be for yourself, maybe for your family, but what I'm trying to say to you is that the way you respond to life matters a lot. Yes, the sickness may be there. Somebody was born blind, she wrote hymns. Somebody said, oh, if he's going to die, let this be the last thing he's going to do, and he's done great things. The person who brought about the sausage, go research it. The person who brought about sausage was paralyzed. He was on his paralyzed bed. They had a family that had farm. The family had used to be farmer. It used to be a family of farming. Farmers. In those days when and all that. So the man later had issues and became paralyzed and all of that. It was on his paralytic bed, whatever you call it. that's when he using his mental mind, his mental faculty to build and to generate things, ideas that brought about what we call sausage today. So react well. You may say, "Oh, it is terrible. Oh, it is painful." People like Steve Jobs, people like Howard School, the owner of a Starbucks, the owner of the owner and the founder of Oracle. There is this article that was written sometimes ago. I read the article. I tried to research the article before this edition, but I couldn't lay my hand on it. But I have read the article before about it is titled "Orphans Rule the World," something like that. It talks about how orphans, people who were either orphans or were brought up by single parents, how they grew up from nothing to become one of the greatest leaders in their field. So you too can come from being an orphan. You can come from loss of parents, without parents. You can come from loss of spouse. You can come from sickness, whatever it is, and you can still do good for yourself. You can still draw something good, positive for yourself. Do you understand? I'm not talking about healing here. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a preacher. I'm just saying that even despite it, you can still draw out something good. The person who brought about the idea of sausage was on his paralytic bed. Somebody was born blind, gave us some of the greatest hymns that we sing today. So you can react well. Steve Jobs was adopted. He didn't know his parents, but he grew up later on to know that the people, his parents, were not his biological parents. But he didn't kill himself. That didn't stop him from giving us Apple or iPhone that we have today. So what I'm trying to say in this episode is that no matter the pain, no matter the down, no matter how low you are or how low you have gone, you can still draw something good. You can still draw yourself out. You can still pick up yourself and do good for yourself in anything you have chosen. No matter the negativity, you are the one that will know how to react to it. Do you understand? People have come, and if you have a vision, you are giving an excuse for not doing it. People have come from lower level, from deeper level, and have risen to higher level from lower level than where you are today, and they have risen, they have picked up themselves and do something great for themselves and for their generation. So stop giving excuse, and don't use your situation of negativity to attract pity party to yourself. Do not attract pity party. Rise up to the task. No matter the level you are, no matter the down, how down you are fallen, pick up yourself and do something good for yourself. Stay blessed and God bless.